I wanted this to be much more than simply a book, something much more than people kind of just look at it and say, wow, that's an interesting story, and then just throw it off to the side. But I really wanted to be a much larger call to action. I really wanted to be a much larger examination of our entire culture and to understand, these are the implications and these are the consequences of either our attention as a society or our apathy as a society. This is what happens when we can pay attention to young kids, regardless of what community they grow up in, who are looking for help and assistance and support, the implications of not just paying attention to them, but also the implications of not. When I think about what happened with the military school, the structure, how similar it was to the drug structure. And what I mean by that is this, it's, when I first started at military school, the first thing they do is okay, Moore, my last name, they're like, we're gonna put you in charge of that corridor. If that corridor is clean, we're going to congratulate you. And if that corridor is dirty, we're going to come after you. And so I started taking that personally. So if I saw someone throwing a piece of trash in the corridor, hey, pick that up, man. This is my responsibility. So then they start seeing the corridor looks good after a while, and then they promote you. And now, okay, now you're a squad leader. Now you're in charge of cadets. So now, I'm the one sticking my chest out, and I'm the one, telling people what to do. But it felt good that I started feeling a larger sense of responsibility, this graduated responsibility. Then I became a platoon sergeant, a first sergeant, et cetera. And so every year you're watching your responsibility increase. Well, you look at Wes. Wes didn't start off as a kingpin, right? The kids will start off as lookouts. They'll start off as the people that stand across, that stand in front of a building, and when you see a cop car roll by, or you see a car that doesn't look like it belongs there roll by, or people that don't look like they belong there, you yell, hey Rhonda, or hey Susan, or whatever the name is for the day. And what they're doing is they're tipping people off that someone who doesn't belong in the neighborhood is coming into the neighborhood. And so if the cop happens to grab them, they can just say, what is it? I'm calling for my friend. Was that a crime now? And the cops then let them go. You start doing that, well, then eventually you become a runner. So now your job is to run packages across town. Then from there you become a houseman. From there you become muscle. From there you become a lieutenant. So the similar structures that you see that exist within that structure are the same structures that exist within a military unit, same structures that exist between a Fortune 500 company. In the exact same models. So in many ways, Wes showed a tremendous amount of leadership very early on in life. In many ways, you had two kids who were both searching for that level of leadership, that level of accountability, that level of responsibility. And in the case of both Wes and myself, both of us got it. Just we got it in very different ways.
Let's talk about expectations, both personal expectations and the expectations others have of you. Yeah. And how do you approach those type of things?
There's a scene in the book, Wes and I are talking, and then I say to him, so do you think that we're products of our environment? And he looks back at me and he said, actually, I think we're products of our expectations. And I thought that was an incredibly insightful and important distinction between being a product of your environment and being a product of your expectations. Because I'm a firm believer that if the expectation of a young person or the community that they live in is that this person will go on and they'll finish high school, or they'll finish college, and they'll go on to become a great husband or father or mother or wife, then that's generally what kids will do. And if the expectation of them is that they probably won't finish, they'll probably end up in the juvenile justice system, they'll probably end up in the adult prison system, then kids have a funny way of making that happen as well.